So this is just something that a girl from Japan showed me when we were in college. She was at one of my civil rights classes or something, whatever. So the issue was, so we were near the end of our first month at college, and so we needed some calories and some iron. For late night discussions, you talk a lot about iron. And especially during, what was it, Annie DeFranco? No, whatever. I don't remember her name. But there was a lot of iron-y talk about college. And so you want the calories, but here's the issue. There's not a lot of fiber. So you need fiber, you need iron, you need protein. There's some protein, there's some carbohydrates in here, but there's too much sodium. The 51% of your daily dose of sodium, 1160 milligrams. So how you can deal with it, and it doesn't have enough fiber. And you don't necessarily have a pot. So you don't have a pot. So, but you do have kind of a stove down in the basement of the dorm. And so what you can do to get more fiber, less sodium, no pot. And you say, do you even lift, bro? And you do. So you open that, and then you have your towel, because as any reader of Douglas Adam knows, you always need to have a towel for something like this. And so you pour in the boiling water that you've prepared without a pot, a little extra fiber that you can throw in later. And then you've got some hot veggies. And then you've got this stainless steel cup. And then you fill it up to the fill line. And just throw the extra hot water into the pot, if you have one. If you don't have any pot, forget about it. And then what you have here is you have some hot ramen. And so now the problem is there's too much sodium. How can you have a better living through chemistry? How do you remove some of the sodium from this? There's a little ridiculous packaging, but whatever. You have to be a college student to figure this out. Like, my daughter thinks that C students are better because they can multitask, and A students are too focused. I think I'm not quite convinced that that's true, because way back many years ago in college, some really smart girlfriends and I figured out that if you're worried about there's too much sodium in your ramen, which you buy in bulk. I mean, ideally you would use the packages rather than styrofoam, although styrofoam, this is mostly air. It's actually not as much waste as you think if you do the entire thing. So, but to get rid of this sodium, how do you think you can get rid of a lot of the sodium in this without losing the fiber or the protein or the carbohydrates that you actually want? Here's what you do. Now, first, you need to wait for the noodles to cook. And then how can we magically make the sodium go away? Well, so if you're going to school in Tufts or something, whatever. No, what Tufts is where, what's her name? I don't know. Well, I went to school on the West Coast, but same thing. Anyway, so I think it's probably cooked. So how do you get rid of the sodium of a cup of noodles after you cook it? If you don't have a pot, you can use, or if you don't have a strainer, you can use like your fork. And so to have a cup of noodles that has too much sodium and to not consume so much sodium, here's what you can do. I know, this is like rocket science. And by doing that, you've cut your sodium intake by like 2/3. Cool.